Hey everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of Spoiler Force Podcast. You can find more episodes on any major podcasting platform such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, and even on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure to follow and like Spoiler Force Podcast on Facebook.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Surprise, and you're listening to Spoiler Force Podcast.
All right, so this is episode 60 of Spoiler Force Podcast. My name is Ricky, and thank you for tuning in. This is the first live recorded episode, and I can't wait to share with you guys our thoughts and stuff for this podcast. So this is live, unedited, first time doing this. What's funny is I used to say like we're live all the time when I first started podcasting. When I wasn't live, it was always just pre-recorded. So this is definitely very fun for me to try and do this. And so I can't wait to bring on my guest. It's my cousin from Wisconsin. He's helped me with my podcasting equipment and my computer tech stuff and software and all that stuff. So let me bring in my guest, Moang Her. Hey. Thank you for doing this, man. I know I've been like bugging you to jump on the podcast for like the past couple months now. It's just I never found a good topic to bring you in. And then like I was like, let's talk about Ray Zero. Then you're like, yeah, let's do it.
Hell yeah, dude. Dude, anime is where it's at.
Yeah, you know what's crazy too is like for fans who don't know, my cousin Moang here, he's actually the one who got me into watching more anime in the past like year and a half or so. Before that, I was still pretty comic book heavy. And then he got me into watching like Ray Zero, My Hero, and I forgot what other stuff he got me into watching.
I kept hyping you, and then during the family reunion, I bring in the Blu-rays for My Hero Academia, and I showed everybody.
Yeah, you brought in seasons 1, 2, and 3, right?
I think it was just season 1. At the time, I only had season 1.
Yeah, because like we watched a little bit of that during the whole family reunion that we had back in 2017, 18 around there. And
then I got hooked back on shonen.
Yeah, I got me hooked for real. I'm reading the freaking mangas now, and I'm like ahead of the anime and shit.
I mean, anime is weird because the thing is, it's easy to go on a hiatus of just not watching anime when you've seen the good animes, like back in the day when anime was really good, and it's easy to just like stop watching anime and just like not really care. And then it's crazy how you go back into anime, it's like it's gotten a lot better actually.
Yeah, like when we were growing up with anime before, it was like what Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, Gundam, Naruto, like a lot of the shonen type anime. And like the stuff that came out right after all the mecha stuff, you know, I never really got into the mecha stuff. I know we have some older cousins who were more into Gundam and like the Evangelon series and not as droids, but Zoids and all that stuff. So they were more into the whole mech stuff. You know, I got into it maybe like towards the end of that era, and then all the shonen stuff kicked in. And then I took a break from manga and anime after like Naruto and Bleach ended. And then I stopped for a good few years, got myself into comic books and the whole DC universe again. Now I'm back into the manga stuff again, but now I'm in a whole different genre with the isekai stuff. And like I'm really into the Konosuba, Ray Zero now, so I'm into all that stuff that the people really don't like.
Well, there's just so many isekais. It's so easy to hate on it because there's just so much of it. But the thing is, when you watch the good ones, it's like, I mean, this is actually really good.
Yeah. It's definitely like I guess not so much took a turn, but it helped me like kind of enjoy and appreciate the different styles of anime. Like I said, Konosuba is the one that really helped me like see things differently because it's an isekai genre, but then man, it's so fucking hilarious. I love the characters. I love the series. Like I'm so obsessed with it now. I have like a desk mat for it. My wallpapers on my computers are all Konosuba. So like I love that stuff.
I find it hard to just review comedy animes that are really good though, because they're hilarious. I just find it good overall. So it's really hard for me to put it up against like other animes too, because I kind of put it in its own category.
Yeah. You showed me your category list that you had, like all the ones that you wanted to recommend.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, before we get into all this more into this anime talk, I wanted to let fans know kind of like who you are and what you did. So I let fans know like what you're currently doing with all the bad stuff in your background, man. Let them know what's up with all that.
Right now I'm just working. I work at Walmart, but I'm just kind of just chilling, and I do a lot of computer stuff on the side too. I've helped a few friends build the computers. I just finished, and I've been helping my parents with the streaming at church, and then I just finished up building my brother a computer. All this is just none all the parts are already used. They're in computers, and I try to sell them on Craigslist here and there, but mostly I just, if anyone needs help, I just help them out with computer stuff, like especially with Ricky, and then I think basically, and I just watched too much anime because I think the last 3 weeks I actually tore my meniscus.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so I've been stuck in bed for like the past 3-4 weeks, and so if you haven't noticed, I've been watching a lot of shit on Netflix.
That's what it was.
Yeah, the reason why I've been doing so many reviews is because I've been stuck at home, and I've just been watching K-drama, and I've been watching Netflix series and catching up on anime.
So Danny.
A pretty big variety. K-drama, and if you ever heard of The Last Kingdom, that's like a Viking series. It's basically like a live action Vinland Saga. But
yeah, I never got into Vinland Saga. I watched like 2 episodes and I dropped it. I couldn't get through it because I had so much other stuff that I was watching.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's either hit or miss. I liked it just because it's very different. Because there aren't too many animes that take the whole Viking thing very seriously. And then I wouldn't give it too high of a score, but the animations are pretty good. I know a lot of people really liked it, so I won't talk shit about it. But yeah, no, I forgot what else I was gonna say. Other than that, just a lot of anime and building computers, and then I've still been working on my video games. I only put like 1 to 2 hours a day when I can into it. It's a lot of work when you're working on like a video game project, because it's pretty stressful. Like just thinking of ideas, because at first it's really easy to start like an idea, but when you like just keep going at it, it just gets tough as you keep going.
Now those are the same games that you sent me, right, to play.
Yeah,
yeah. For the listeners, you guys will get links to those games to try out their demos. But my cousin made them himself. Him and his team, they did all the voices and came up with the storyboard and characters. My cousin actually. Moang, he's actually drawing all the characters himself and actually learned how to draw better because of that stuff. So I'll definitely check that out with the links, which will be posted up after this episode. And then also for those who are listening to this like audio, which will be released on Sunday, when you hear us, we'll be reading I'll be reading off some comments from like viewers and stuff, which is from Facebook and Twitch. What I'm trying to do now with these episodes that are live, I want to stream these exclusively on Facebook and Twitch, and then YouTube will have the edited video version, and then the audio will be on the major podcasting platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all that good stuff. So yeah, but to continue on, man, like I said, you've been helping me with my tech stuff, with the podcast stuff. You helped me with my first purchase of my own laptop and with my monitors, like a lot of the hardware stuff and even software stuff. And it's been helping me a lot. It's made my podcast a lot better. And for listeners who don't know, when I was doing my podcast, it was all through my phone with some clip-on mics. And if it had not been for my cousin and some other good friends who helped me like research the stuff, I would not get to this point where I'm using a laptop and multiple monitors and this Yeti mic and all that stuff. So like, it's definitely thanks to them that I've been able to improve. Now, you mentioned that to the fans, you mentioned that you worked at Walmart. I wanted to bring up this story too. When I was up in Wisconsin for your sister's wedding, I think it was maybe a day or two before, we got there early, and I got to go to Duke Rufus's MMA gym, and I met Sergio Pettis there. And your dad actually is the one who took me. We went. It was so funny to find that gym in Wisconsin. Like the building, to walk in there, it's a side door. It's not even like a front or back door. It's literally a side door, like as if you're driving through through a bank to pick up and send out money and stuff, like at ATM. So you walk through the side door, and then I noticed you see the signs, and then you see the picture of Pettis and Woodley walked down the stairs, went to the second floor or the basement floor, and there was Duke Rufus's gym, man, in person. And then I saw Sergio Pettis training. I saw Macy Barber before she was fighting one of her UFC fights. She was actually in camp during that time too. And then I got to meet Sergio Pettis, which was really awesome because I honestly wanted to meet Anthony Pettis, but Sergio is just as good. And then not even like a week later, you met him when you were working. Dude,
I saw him walking while I was working. I'm like, wait, is that Sergio? Because I remember his face because then you took a picture of it. And I saw like, no way, that's Sergio. I'm gonna get a picture of this guy. Send it to Ricky.
Yeah, it was like not even a week. You're like, Ricky, look, and it's fucking you and Sergio Pettis at Walmart. Dude, that was so fucking dope. I was like, man, not even a week after I met him, Moang met him at Walmart. Like the coincidences of that.
That's crazy though. Yeah, that coincidence.
Yeah, you know, like it's really cool too because like you don't live too far from their gym, so like you know you there's a possibility that you might even get to see like Anthony Pettis there, or even Woodley or Askren, or even maybe CM Punk if he's still there.
Dude, I would love to see Askren, but I don't know. Actually, I wouldn't because I have so many jokes.
Oh, about Askren? Dude, did you watch Fight Island? Did you watch Masvidal's fight?
Dude, I told you though. I called it. Like, I wanted Masvidal to win, but we knew that if Masvidal didn't win the first 2-3 rounds, it was over.
Yeah, it was way too tough. Like as tough as he is, that
he wasn't ready.
Cut, and he barely had a camp. I felt bad for him, man.
He wasn't a good matchup either. I don't think that was a good matchup.
What do you think if it's like a full camp though? If let's say he got like a good 8 to 10 weeks to fight Usman.
I feel like more time would be more needed because I think they should have. They should have added more hype because it was pretty last minute too. 8 weeks is hard to tell, maybe, but I mean, I liked his post fight interview because he knew that he didn't train enough, and he knew that he could win. So I mean, I think he could win given the amount of time, but for sure he didn't have enough training for this fight.
Oh yeah, not within 6 days. No, like he did enough to stay fit, but I don't think there was not enough time for him to get a game plan ready to fight Usman. And then Usman did what he did best too. You know, he just stuck in the clinch. He did not want to exchange with Masvidal, man.
It was a clinch and also attacking this foot. All the memes,
dude. The foot stomps. I don't know if that broke any records or but I know that was like the most foot stomps within a fight or something.
Basically dancing on his foot, bro.
Yeah, and then he was throwing a lot of shoulder bumps and stuff. It was. Man, that main event was so like lackluster because like me and my friends, we were all together and we were watching it too. And
then you just knew what was gonna happen like after like 2-3 rounds.
Wait, what was your thoughts on the Holloway and Volkanovski fight? Did you watch that one?
I'm trying to remember if I did. Was it Holloway won, right?
No, he lost by decision too.
Nah, I didn't watch that.
Oh, okay, yeah, that one was close, but like. From how I was judging it, I thought Holloway won because just by his defense, like Volkanovski, like didn't really take him down until towards the end of the fights, like 4th to 5th round. But Holloway was defending most of it too. And then I don't know how the judges saw it. I felt like Holloway won that fight, but it's a close one because it's all. I think if you rewatch it, I think it's definitely 1-2 Holloway, 4-5 Volkanovski, and then it comes down to how they judge that 3rd round. But I don't know if those who are listening, if you're watching it live right now, let me know what you guys think of those fights. Who won? That was the first CFC Fight Island. Dana White was being Shao Kahn and shit, starting Mortal Kombat. Like it's definitely a crazy event. I think there's another fight. There's another fight card tomorrow that's free. If you guys don't know, it's the main event is Till versus who was he gonna fight? I forgot who he was going to fight. It was another top contender. It was Till versus someone. If you guys know, drop it in the comments because I forgot. I'm brain farting right now.
The best part about COVID is the fact that UFC's uploading so many fights, though. They've uploaded so many like old fights that you couldn't get your hands on.
Yeah, because they have to keep the content going, man. It's not like before where you can have fights in Vegas and stuff. Now everyone has to get tested. Everyone has to be clean, and it's so crazy, man, to see how like fighters have to. They're risking their careers to do these cards, and I felt bad for Gilbert Burns, who was supposed to originally fight Usman, and he caught COVID right before the big event. So I was like, man, that sucks for him. Yeah. So back onto the anime stuff that we had planned to talk. We were talking about like how you got me into My Hero, and I honestly was like, when I first heard of it, I I kind of saw clips and stuff on Facebook and YouTube, and I was kind of iffy because it was during that hype where an MCU was still big, and
it felt like a knockoff almost in a way because of the timing.
Yeah, so like I was kind of hesitant to watching it, and then you were like, dude, it's so good, watch it, man, it's so good. And I didn't get into it until like halfway of season 3, and then I picked up right after our family reunion that we had. I watched a clip of when Midoriya fought Muscular. That was the first clip I ever watched. And then I watched the All Might clip with him and All for One. And then I was like, okay, so this doesn't look too bad. I might go watch it. So I watched it after our family reunion, and then I got hooked. I was like, damn, dude. Like at first I didn't like Midoriya because he was a big baby in season 1 and 2, and then
I think a lot of people have issues with his character archetype because it's basically him, kind of Tanjiro. Tanjiro's a little bit different, but almost similar because you can still meme their archetype. There's a character that's the same as from Yomashi Pedal, just a big crybaby. And I think a lot of people actually have there's a pretty good amount of people that have issues with that character archetype, which is why a lot of people actually just don't like Midoriya.
Yeah, because like he's a big softy, and he's not like the typical shonen character. Like Naruto is driven. Like Naruto's the biggest example. He's super driven.
Well, I mean, kind of, because the thing is, Naruto. I think Naruto was it's basically the season 1 Naruto, when Naruto was actually a troll, but he was also pretty serious too. It was really good when the storytelling was fire, basically, Naruto. Because I think as Naruto kind of grew, they kind of didn't know what to do with him. Because when they first hit Shippuden, like he didn't really change, and he's still pretty weak. Because he still do for the first half of Shippuden, he relied on the fox.
Yeah,
and it was so stupid.
Yeah, even in Shippuden, he still relied on the fox, and it wasn't until like his training of Jiraiya that he really improved. But with Midoriya, he's given the best ability from the start, but it's the process of him training. Excuse me, that really bothered me. I absolutely hated how they were like making him learn one for all, and it took him forever until halfway to season 2 that he like learned that, oh, I'm not even using my whole body. It's like boxing, when you throw a punch, you gotta throw your whole body into it, and it's like that where he's just only throwing the punch without his body. So it wasn't until after Stain that I was like, oh shit, Midoriya is pretty badass, and then I got really into it. And then season 3 was like, that's the one that I love forever, like him and Muscular fight. That's my favorite moment of all of My Hero, even through the manga right now. That's my favorite moment. I wish Midoriya kind of still captured that type of heroic character, but now he's not even really like that. Besides the overhaul.
I think it's because there's just so much going on. It's really, you look at the whole the season 4 arc with the what's his face the Yakuza guy. The entire arc, there's just so many characters. It couldn't really focus too much on Midoriya. I mean, I'll be honest, Kirishima kind of stole the spotlight a little bit because that fight was
him and Batman. That
was a good fight. Like I think that was I kind of like that fight better than the rest of the entire. Because the thing is, they kind of did I forgot his name. I'm forgetting everyone's names. Lemillion. Yeah, they kind of honestly they should have give his fight a full episode.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And then they did freaking PowerPoint that thing. Like, dude, look, I love like when I first read the manga for that, I knew that the overhaul Yakuza arc was going to be fire. And especially with Kirishima and Fat Gum, I was waiting for that episode. And the fact that they were able to do that within an episode span was really good because the fight in the manga is super quick. But then with Lemillion or Togata, he's a character that they've put more time in to showing. They introduced him very quick from the end of season 3 till where almost all of season 4 of his character, like how he was supposed to be the one that got one for all. And that was the one that All Might was actually going to give one for all to had he not run into Midoriya and Bakugo's situation. So like a lot of fans who stand Lemillion like I do, we're all like, man, fuck Midoriya, man. One for all should have been to Lemillion. And it's so the thing about Lemillion is they wrote his character so good. Like he's a character where you see his passion to be a hero, and then Not just that, like he's willing to do whatever it takes. And unlike Midoriya, he had a quirk, but his quirk wasn't meant to be like heroic. You know, like him phasing through walls and slipping through walls, and he learned how to master it, and then he became super powerful. But like, you know, I don't know. I felt like if I was to say what I really want to say, like I want to say that like, I wish Lemillion was the hero. Like I don't really like, after reading the whole Yakuza arc, I was like, I don't know, man. I kind of want Lemillion to be the one.
Dude, he's a beast. Like, look what he did without his powers. He was able to survive how long against the 2 quirk users.
Yeah, and he went off on his own. That's the thing too. Like with all those pro heroes there, and then they raided the Yakuza place. He took off. He was like, "Nope, screw you guys." He went off and tried to find Eri.
Dude, Sirs freaking sucks. You can see the future, but he got whooped the first fight we saw him in.
What you mean? Night, like
yeah, Night or Sir. The green hair guy.
The green hair. Yeah, the guy who was training Lemillion, right?
Yeah.
Night.
Night.
When did he lose? I know he lost to
when he died.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, he died. But like
there wasn't enough buildup, in my opinion.
Yeah, like the manga, like they introduced him to like he was All Might's last sidekick, or I think first and last, but he was a sidekick for sure. And he you know, he wanted to prove Midoriya wrong, that, you know, that he wasn't meant for One for All, and then Midoriya broke the barrier for that. And as of right now, I'm reading my other cousin's comments here. I don't know if you can see him, but Lee Mong was like, "You're a Deku hater," and he's like, "I know you see me." So Lee is a huge Midoriya fan. We're gonna talk about the movie in a minute, but like that's the reason why he loves Midoriya. But you know, back to Lemillion, man. Like I really liked his character, how they, you know, like especially how emotional it was when he lost the quirk and how he kept fighting. I think that's what really made folks love Lemillion, is that there's like a comment on YouTube where they're like, you know, Lemillion with no quirk says that he's still a hero. But Midoriya, when he had no quirk, he was like, "Can I still be a hero?" He had doubts, but Lemillion had no doubts when he lost his quirk. He knew he was still a hero. So I think a lot of fans like that aspect of Lemillion.
But it's also kind of not fair too, because he did have a quirk to begin with.
Yeah. I think that's what it is too. Like the fact that you can kind of see someone losing their quirk versus someone gaining a quirk. I think that's
also he didn't have a crazy ass dude bullying him every day.
That's true. Yeah, Lemillion didn't go through bullying. He got made fun of, but it wasn't like he was able to
he handled it like perfectly. Yeah. But the Midoriya, dude, Bakugo's mean, dude.
You know, and speaking of Bakugo, man, what did you think of Heroes Rising? I know we've talked about this before, but let the fans know what you thought of it.
Dude, probably one of my favorite movies of the year. For sure.
Best movie of 2020 because everything's closed.
Literally best movie of 2020. That's true. Like, I haven't seen a movie like since after I watched it like 4 times in the theaters. And then COVID hit and like, oh, no more movies.
It was like so perfect, right? My Heroes Rising came in. We all got that hype. We're waiting for like the next anime movies, you know, like Digimon, that One Wave movie, Demon Slayer, the Mugen Train. We're all waiting for, and Goblin Slayer, which is actually coming out next Tuesday on Crunchyroll. For fans who are listening, Goblin Slayer, Goblin's Crown is on digital on Crunchyroll next Tuesday. So watch that. But you know, we were all waiting for these hype ass anime movies, and then COVID hits, and then, you know, all we got was Heroes Rising, and that's honestly, I felt like the best movie of 2020, because with COVID, there's nothing out there.
I mean, undoubtedly, it is just a fan. Like, the only thing that disappoints me is that it's like a Naruto movie. It's not really part of the story at all. I think they did a good job at integrating the story to make it make sense, though. It's just it sucks that it's not part of the main story in a way, because, you know, anything that happens in the movie, if the side characters die, it doesn't matter. But if it's just no one's gonna die, there's really no risk at stake. But I was surprised at how they still twisted the story in a way to make it like super hype because that ending finale was insane.
Yes, for Heroes Rising, kind of backtracking here, like because the first movie, what was it? Two Heroes. It kind of made sense to go in between seasons. You know, that's where the storyline took place. Even though it's not like an official canon story, it makes sense. You know, they were on their summer break, and then All Might and the characters went to that convention. But then with Heroes Rising, I believe Horikoshi said that it was supposed to be the real ending for My Hero, but he scratched it. So with what we saw in what fans and what viewers saw with Heroes Rising is what should have happened, but now it's not. So, which is why the ending was wild, because when Midoriya shares One for All with Bakugo, and then the ballad song kicks in, and then Nine standing there like, what the hell?
The moment you realize what Midoriya was gonna do, it's like, what?
Dude, the fact was like our cousin Lee, I think he's still watching. We had this debate too, right? He was like, had it not been for Midoriya, they wouldn't have won. But I was like, Bakugo carried that entire movie and every fight scene he had. Every fight scene that Bakugo had in Heroes Rising, he was the one that was usually engaging and starting off the fights first. Because even when Midoriya first fought Nine, he couldn't get him to I get Midoriya obviously first time fighting him, so I give him a slack. But Bakugo is the one who engaged the most.
The first time they fought, Midoriya would have lost all his powers.
Yeah, Bakugo was in there Bakugo already knew how to try to take out Nine until Nine had that dragon quirk. Mm-hmm. But then it just shows you how great Bakugo is. He's such a instinctive character, and a lot of fans oversee that because of his anger issues and bullying of Midoriya. Bakugo is actually a pretty good character. And then towards the end, when he agrees to share the quirk with Midoriya, and then they both have One for All, what an amazing scene.
That scene was too good. So because you look at Studio Bones and what they're doing with the animations, it's insane.
Bakugo is reckless.
He's reckless, but it's weird because I feel I kind of get why people don't like Bakugo, because it's really hard. It's kind of like that one movie, Silent Voice, where it takes the perspective of the bully, right? And in a way, people can actually be uncomfortable with following the point of view of the bully. And I think My Hero Academia has done a good job in a way at showing how much Bakugo has changed, because he's changed a lot since the very beginning, and in a lot of good ways. It's really you can't really get rid of his personality, because his personality he's just wild.
Well, the thing with Horikoshi does is he's so good at using these side characters and not making them side characters too. You feel and empathize with Vermilion, you feel and empathize with Kirishima, with Froppy, Uraraka, even Ida, and Bakugo too, and Todoroki. These characters, they all have potential to be a protagonist or main character, just like Midoriya. And that's what I like about My Hero too, is the fact is that all these characters are actually, if you really look at it, they're more suitable to be more of the protagonist than Midoriya. What makes Midoriya so good is that we relate to him because he's just a nerd like us. He's a big old weeb, big softy, so that's where a lot of viewers who really like Midoriya, because he's more humanized than these characters with incredible abilities. But back to that final scene with Nine, man. I every time I watch it, I get goosebumps, man. I feel like it's so phenomenal to see how Studio Bones did it, and just the fact that they used a soft song, for that such a crazy moment, and it's all emotional. I don't know if when you watched it in theaters, but for me, when I was watching it in theaters, it was dead silent, and I'll admit this on the podcast. I even teared up when they were fighting, because I was like, dude, it's so emotional to see these two characters just willing to die for this small little island, and then the fact that Bakugo and Midoriya finally came to terms when they never do it in the entire series of My Hero, and even in the manga right now, they're just starting to form some sort of relationship. So definitely, for sure, I can't wait to see what Horikoshi has in the manga. I know for some viewers, you guys might not be reading it, but it's definitely going to happen. But who knows how it's going to happen, because Horikoshi's so good at keeping secrets with these characters. So like, what did you think of Endeavor's moment in the movie? I know you liked Endeavor in the end of season 4 a lot.
Oh, the movie or the season?
Both. Well, because like Endeavor was in the beginning of the movie, but then like towards season 4, that's when you were like posting about like oh my god, Endeavor's like so badass.
Well, I mean, I thought the movie kind of it was more of a fan service when they showed Endeavor fighting against his son. It's not confirmed yet. I think that was a small tease. I think that's actually a really good tease of the future because I mean it makes sense, like fire against fire, but it's blue fire against red fire, and then I really like what they did with Endeavor because it's kind of like the Bakugo situation. A lot of people actually don't like Endeavor because he's a terrible dad.
Yeah, he's a dude.
But they kind of
terrible hero.
But the thing is, I like the way Hirokoshi's redeeming a lot of these characters.
Yeah.
And the way they redeemed it was amazing. It was the perfect way to end season 4, bro.
Honestly, I was not expecting season 4 to end with Endeavor. I thought that was going to be the start of season 5.
I mean, it would have been kind of a lame ending to end it off with the
song.
Yeah, just the song. I mean, it was I enjoyed it, but it still felt like filth. That entire arc to cheer up Eri, it still felt like filler, even though it's not. It really isn't filler, but it still felt like filler in a way because nothing really happened. Especially unless we, because I haven't read the manga up ahead, but unless we see that magic guy again, the guy that does the invisible plastic, and then the girl that gives the power of love, unless we see them again, unless we see them again, I feel like their characters are kind of pointless in a way.
Yeah, it was definitely more like slice of life kind of genre, and then like with Midoriya fighting the villain for that arc, it was more for just like Midoriya showcasing his skill, how much he's improved with One for All.
Mm-hmm.
And like he's winning a 1v1 finally instead of having a team behind him. Because you notice like Midoriya has very few 1v1s. It's always like him with the team. With Muscular, that was like one of the few moments, and then him fighting.
That's what makes Muscular's fight one of the best moments of the entire anime, because they did that fight very well too. It wasn't too quick, and then it made a lot of sense. Even though they didn't really give too much time to build up Muscular, everything just kind of fell in perfectly with the story, and it was an interesting arc the way they pulled it. But I mean, I kind of feel bad for Muscular though, because that guy,
what a waste.
He's OP though. I feel like if he went against Bakugo or anybody else, he would straight up murder them.
Yeah, I think with Midoriya, it was just wrong place, wrong time, because like One for All just spurred. Let's see here. One of the our cousin Lee is like tears for. I think he's he's pointing out to the Muscular scene because like with if Lisa watching, we talked about like how we were comparing like Tanjiro's scene in episode 19 with Demon Slayer to Midoriya's moment with Muscular. How these two characters were putting their lives on the line for someone else, and how emotional it was. And I even put before, I don't know if Facebook lets groups or not groups, but like fan pages put up polls anymore. But I did put up a poll like which fight was better between Midoriya versus Muscular or Tanjiro versus Rui. And it was pretty close. A lot of fans liked both. So it was like near 50-50.
If you think about it, those fights are kind of the same because Midoriya got help from the water, and then Tanjiro got help by the exploding blood. It's like the exact same scenes.
But I feel like I gotta go with more of a Tanjiro scene though. I just felt like I really I was more in tune with that fight scene with, I guess because with the Demon Slayer being more family themed, so like I can see like I felt more closer to Tanjiro's character.
Well, you had two characters that you've been with, whereas in Midoriya, you only really cared about Midoriya. I mean, you cared about the water kid, but like not like compared to Nezuko is like no.
yeah, I think that's what it was. The fact that you see both Tanjiro and Nezuko together the entire time versus Midoriya and some kid that they just introduced.
Well, they also added in there was a plot twist too when they revealed Nezuko's power. I think there was a lot more to the fight with Rui and Tanjiro versus Muscular and Midoriya.
Yeah, which is true because like and Nezuko spoke or in her mind, she spoke and everyone freaked out like, "Oh my God, Nezuko!"
Her first line.
All right. Most of the actress's line is just like her breathing and making sounds. Like imagine her like getting that script like, oh my God, my first real line.
It's got a
or at least throughout from the beginning till then, like 18 episodes later of her getting some sort of real line. But let's get to this main topic, man. I know like you got me into My Hero, but this is why we're talking on this episode because Re:Zero, a manga or anime
light novel.
It's light novel, whatever you want to call it. I had no interest in Re:Zero, to be honest. Like Moang kept bugging me to watch it. Like, dude,
I told you, bro.
Like, watch it. It's so good. I'm like, dude, I have no interest in it because like I let the listeners know, like from when I first heard of it, the only thing I knew was Rem, because that's all I saw on Crunchyroll, on the ads, anything that was related to
merchandising and figurines.
Everything was just Rem. So that's the only thing I knew. And even our cousin Lee, if he's still watching, he has a bunch of Rem stuff at his house too. That's the only thing I knew. So I was like, man, I don't really want to watch a anime with just some random blue hair girl and her twin.
Well, so, I feel like you kind of compared it to Konosuba a little bit too much.
Maybe, yeah, but Konosuba is so like lighthearted, man, and it's so.
Well, I think Re:Zero almost gives the vibe that it could have been lighthearted, but the thing is, when you watch it, it's nothing like Konosuba.
Yeah, it's a dark twist. Like Konosuba is like so comedic and fun, and then Re:Zero starts off where like, oh my God, he's transported, and then oh my God, and then fucking killed.
What's going on? What is this? Why are we backing up someone?
Our cousin says, Lee says, fuck Subaru. He also says Rem is best girl. Yeah. Well, let me show this comment to the fans, because the reason why our cousin Lee says fuck Subaru is because there's a part in the anime, which we will get into talking about too. But like I can see why everyone didn't like Subaru. But back to like when I was watching it, like the first episode where Subaru, he gets killed in the first episode, right? I don't really recall.
No, he doesn't. They do a build up. I think it's the second one, because then the first episode is introducing Amelia, and his first death is I think his first death is when he first goes and visits that
random house, right?
Mm-hmm.
He gets killed, and then that's when I got hooked. I'm like, oh shit, like he got stabbed, and then he came back, and then that's when I got really into it. So, like. I gotta say, I only watched season 1 fully just once. I've been going back and watching clips. I haven't gone back for a second full run yet, so I may be like miswording some characters or scenes. But yeah, man, just like Re:Zero is very dark twisted, and I liked that they kept it that same tone with the mystery, with the dark theme to it, and with especially with Subaru. I know Subaru is kind of annoying at times, but like he's more real in that series because he's someone who's from our world who went into a different world, and now like he can't handle the psyche of all that, and then he's also cursed. So like imagine getting killed and constantly coming back. You'd be mentally pretty fucked up too. And with what's going on too, I think with season 1, I really enjoyed it towards the second half. Up until like where they were introducing the Archbishop, that's when I got really, really into it. I liked that whole aspect or mystery of the story. Like, like I gotta say, if anything, the first half of season 1, I only liked the part up. My favorite scene was when Beatrice, when she stood up to Rosewall. I like that scene where she was like, "Yep, I made a contract with them, so I got to protect them." And then Rosewall attacks Beatrice in the mansion. Then they take off, and then that's when Ram comes out. She's like, "You killed Ram," and then Subaru jumps off the freaking cliff, and then he has to come back and start all over again. But yeah, man, like with season 1, man, what was your favorite scene? I know you liked certain parts, but overall, what was your favorite part?
There's a lot of good scenes. Like one of my favorite ones would be the first time they meet Beltkis in the cave. And when Ram dies for Subaru, and then not only does she die from when they go into the mansion and they see a giant freaking dragon on top of the mansion and they play the epic music that is played by the Tokyo Orchestra, is insane because they went all out on that episode because that was like the biggest WTF moment, one of the biggest WTF moments in the show. And that was probably one of my favorite parts that starts ramping up because the thing is when they after that scene it keeps going because especially like when it builds up to the moment Rem, that the episode that Rem and Subaru have that the entire episode is just them talking.
We'll break that down in a bit, but yeah, I wanted to add on to what you were saying. Yeah, that scene where Belkis kills Rem and then she's crawling to Subaru and then she's saying all these things and like with the last of her strength she sets Subaru free and he goes to the mansion and then he gets his head cut off. He gets decapitated. And how the ending scene, the ending credits are rolling, and then the snow keeps falling, and then
it's like old school Japanese cinema.
Dude, I messaged you so quick after I watched that episode. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, they really this was really a part. I thought that was a season finale or something. I looked at my list. I'm like, damn, there's still more episodes.
Dude, they just loved that scene. They just had it. They were all out.
It was really good for sure. But yeah, I mean, there's other characters that I really like too. I liked they pronounce his name weird. Like they pronounce it Julius, but it's spelled Julius with a J. I thought Julius was pretty good. One of the knights, his powers were dope. And who was the red hair on? Reinhardt. He was pretty OP. I thought they showed more of him. And then there was also what other characters? There was the queens that were lined up for the next ruling, and then the little cat kid, her and her siblings. I thought those were pretty cool characters, and how they were.
Anastasia, that's Anastasia, and then Karush. I forgot that red hair chick. She just kind of disappeared.
And Felix, the cat.
Felix, she only wants to be because she just got pissed at everybody.
Fucking dude character. That's exactly a girl. It's funny because like a lot of the memes that I saw of Ray Zero with Felix are just like everyone's super with Ram, super with Amelia. Then the real thing is him and Felix. I was like, that's so messed up. But speaking of Subaru and Rem, there's an episode where they talk about running away, and it's because Subaru. It takes place right after Subaru saw Rem die, I think, right?
No. It's basically after that, when we talked about when his head got decapitated by the giant dragon, and then when Rem died, there was one more where he instead of because that particular version he went crazy. He didn't. That was the time he did nothing. So doing nothing got Rem killed basically. So in the next one, he was actually pissed at Beltigis. So that's when he went more for anger. So that he went, he went and tried to. He didn't negotiate. He asked for help, but he got rejected by everyone because he wasn't negotiating. He was just he told people to help him, but no one gave him help, and he just got more mad. And he went. Then this time he went too early, and that's when he got
the white whale. Yeah.
Well, he got Rem caught by the white whale, and Rem disappeared. And then he went but that's because he took the shortcut. And then he got Amelia killed because he talked about his ability. And then
that's right.
And that's when Beatrice teleported them out of the mansion, and that's where Belskis found them again.
Yeah, that part was crazy. Like when he was trying to tell his ability, and then Amelia got killed. That caught me off guard. I was like, holy shit, they killed off Amelia. And you think that returned by death would only affect him. To think that the curse killed off someone else, I think that's pretty crazy. How powerful that curse is that he has. But to continue on with Subaru and Rem, like they talk about like running away and how Subaru doesn't want to face any of these issues. He's like, Rem, let's just go and forget about everyone. And then even Rem was on that boat. She's like, yeah, let's go, but we'd have to work hard and find jobs and do this and do that. And like she says things that a lot of guys want to hear. Like she's like, I'm willing to do this for you, and she says all these sweet things to Subaru. And then he fucking goes, I love Amelia. Like, what the hell? I was so mad.
She rejected him anyway. She said yes, but she talked about it, but she rejected him because she knew that even if they ran away, he wouldn't be the Subaru that she fell in love with because she called him a hero, and that wouldn't be very heroic of him to run away.
Yeah, she. That's the thing too. Like Rem. I can see now. I see why everyone loves Rem, right? Because Rem
It's the perfect girlfriend.
pays so much attention to Subaru. Like she knows his every quirk, his every thought, like how he feels and what he likes and dislikes.
Well,
and
they also gave her a lot of character arcs, like because we got like a whole the entire the second mystery arc where Super kept dying in the mansion. That was actually the majority. It was actually Rem's entire arc.
Yeah,
because when he learned about her and when he changed her, because the difference between Amelia and Rem is that Amelia or Subaru loved Amelia to begin with. Like it was like from the very beginning, it was I love you, but with Rem, she fucking murdered her every day, or after every checkpoint. But the thing is, it's interesting to see how she turned into this person who would literally kill him just because she didn't trust him, into someone who loves him like she would die for him.
Yeah, but okay, to backtrack a little bit there, how she killed Subaru that first time, she broke his leg with the chain ball.
Oh my god!
Dude, oh my god! And he was like, "Don't trust me, I'm not like a villain." And then she's like, "Yeah, but why would you have this and that?" And she just
he was crying like, "Why are you killing me?"
When she broke his leg, I thought of like in SpongeBob, that fish. I was like, "My leg!" I thought of that.
And then you realize the show's actually pretty realistic with the death.
Yeah, but dude, like Rem is so well written in Ray Zero, and I love that she's willing to just do and go beyond for Subaru. But man, I feel like I understand like why Subaru loves Amelia too, but it's just, how do you not choose Rem, man? Like Amelia wouldn't do that. Like from what we've seen, Amelia would not do that for Subaru at this moment.
It's interesting though, because the first half everyone was pretty much team Amelia the first half. But as the show goes on, you kind of realize after you see the things that Rem did, it's like, bro, how can you not?
Like how much she sacrificed for just Subaru, or she did things for Ram, her twin sisters, how much she went through for that. And you learned that how special Ram was until she lost her horn. And then
I mean, if you go back and really look at who Rem is, she has a very low self-esteem, which is why she acted the way she did throughout the series. And then because she had such low self-esteem, she's willing to love Subaru even though he doesn't love her back. That's how low her self-esteem is.
Yeah, but that's so bad though, man. It's what was it? I forgot what was that kind of psyche or psychological issue it is, like where it's like Beauty and the Beast, where you fall in love with the person who tortures you. That's what Rem has.
That's pretty much what it is.
I was like, it's so terrible. Like you kind of just want to like shake Rem and like, hey, he's not good for you.
I mean, because well, this actually this goes on to the newer episodes of season 2. So I guess I'll talk about that when we get there.
No, go ahead, go for it.
So, I mean, are we gonna? So we review the season. Should we get into season 2?
Okay. Before we get to that, then well, season. Well, let's just give our thoughts overall for season 1. Then, like season 1, I thought it was
phenomenal.
I thought it was great, especially the second half. I thought that second half of season 1 really saved that series, at least for me, because I wasn't really drawn into it until that second half. I just kept pushing through it. And I really loved the plot twist, and I love the fact that they kept that tone still gritty and dark and very almost realistic. Like we were saying, it's way different from Konosuba, where Konosuba is super happy, lighthearted, comedic. Excuse me. And then with Ray Zero, that keeps you on your toes. The ending of each episode, the cliffhangers, it's just you want more of the series, and I can see why you were like, you should have watched it when they were dropping it weekly, man. Like, with season 2, they're kind of still keeping that train rolling. Mm-hmm. But with what I liked about season 1, man, it's just it's a great way to introduce you to that kind of story. It starts off kind of slow, and then it just expands, and then up until the ending where the director's cut, where Amelia is like, "Who is Rem?" And that's where I was like, "Yep, I'm in.
We're gonna suffer."
Yeah, I'm sitting in this train.
Dude, the Rem shippers are all suffering right now, man.
Yeah, so I gotta want to rate this anime because like it's still going on, but I gotta say, for anyone who's watching or tuning in who's not seen Ray Zero. I from my experience, just give it a chance. That's all I gotta say. Give it a chance, whether you like it or not. At least you gotta watch a little bit of it, see if you like it. And if you do, you're gonna be watching a great story. And it's something that's a lot different from the stuff that I've been watching. Like I've said before in this episode earlier, that I was so into so many shonen stuff, but with these isekai themes, Ray Zero is definitely one that's very different. And so it's more plot driven. It's more, foreshadowing and plot twists and all the great stuff that writers use for great stories. And it's not covered with action. It's very story driven.
A lot of it is a mystery. The mystery is what kind of keeps you there too, because you kind of wonder what's happening next. What are the archbishops? What are the witches? And the more we're actually learning so much, especially with season 2. They kind of give hints to a lot of things.
So let the listeners know, like, what is your thoughts on season 1 besides being phenomenal?
Dude, season 1 was really, I mean, I guess I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10, but I give it a really high rating just because it does do a lot of things different. I'm like it's like what I said with Konosuba too. I love Konosuba, but it's like it's a lot easier to kind of write things off as comedy. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing, but you look at it's actually a lot harder to tell a serious story that keeps the audience interested, because a lot of times when you try really hard to tell a serious story, it just comes off as flat and boring, which happens to a lot of, which is why a lot of isekais get a lot of isekai in general is getting a bad name, because there's so many isekais right now. But like it's
Overlord and
Overlord's good. I like Overlord. Those are actually not half bad, but I think Ray Zero does stand out among all of them.
Yes.
Especially because it's basically Groundhog's Day in an anime, but with a lot of twists, and it's insane.
I gotta agree with you. What you said with the whole engagement. I think it definitely keeps fans engaged. Every ending of the episode, you just want more. And on to season 2, after the director's cut ending, where Emilia's like, "Who is Rem?" and I couldn't help myself. I read the light novel. I couldn't help myself. Like, dude, what happened to Rem? Like, what happened to her? And then you find out in season 1, episode 1, she meets the archbishops for gluttony and for greed. And man, those are some powerful archbishops. Like, we thought that Belzgeese was powerful. Gluttony's power, where he can just eat your memories and eat who your identity is.
Dude, freaking Karu, she used her OP wind slash, and she got wrecked by greed, which is like he just moved his finger, her hand blew up.
Yeah. Oh man, that was. I can't wait to see how they're gonna try to fight these.
Actually, that first episode got me into reading some of the side stories, because when you go back and watch the anime and there's that scene where she's about to just get wrecked by gluttony. She has the only thing she knew she was gonna lose, but the only thing she could think about was Subaru, and they had a flashback of her with a family with Subaru.
Talking about Rem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, if you go back, there's actually a fragment story where they actually wrote a whole novel on a side story of where Rem and Subaru actually ran away together, and they had kids.
Yep, and she had the long hair.
Mm-hmm.
I love that side story, right? Because I like to see like the whole what if, or like in DC Comics terms, Elseworld kind of.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting way to do side stories too, especially with this series. It kind of makes sense.
Well, with Subaru dying, it's like infinite timelines, sort of like it had. Mm-hmm. Not died, or had he made different decisions, then different outcomes, different scenarios. So it's perfect for that kind of world where multiverse, and everything's multiverse right now. So like you can't get mad. You're not going to avoid a multiverse themed show. Everything's multiverse now. But with Rem's story, man, I thought it was very, I gotta say, it was very cute. To see that Rem got to be with Subaru, and they had the 2 kids, and then what kind of got me mad was like how they were like, Ram kept her hair long because Subaru likes girls with long hair. I'm like,
well, just a reminder of her other rival.
Yeah, I was like, that's such bullshit, man.
It was interesting though when they talked though, because the thing is, even though they were living together and married and they had kids, she still was afraid that Subaru would go away one day. And then what you didn't, it goes back into her self-esteem again, because she has such low self-esteem even though after they have kids together. And then it was crazy how but the thing is, what she didn't realize was Subaru was thinking the exact same thing, that he was afraid that one day Rem would be gone. And I feel like that kind of was a moment where you kind of realize those two are meant to be together. Come on.
Like, just hash it out, man. Just talk about your issues. Like, we're scared to lose each other, man. Just stay together. But I thought they were gonna do that in the anime, like they, because I tagged you in that Crunchyroll post where they're like they talk about the whole what if part. Kind of wish they kind of teased that a little bit, where they're like, Rem dreaming that or something.
I think I'm a little bit disappointed in the anime season episode 1 and 2, or just so far I'm a little bit disappointed. I still like it because I feel like they're not giving it a lot of time to sink into, because when you go back and watch the fight with Rem and you watch the entire, it's like you said, the light novel actually did it a lot better. Because they actually explain a lot more, and the pacing isn't as so fast, because the pacing is kind of flying by in the anime, where they actually, especially I'm hoping they explain it later, especially with Wilhelm when he talks about his wound, because his Grim Reaper wound that he got from his wife, where it's a wound
the old knight,
the butler.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. One who killed the white whale, right?
Yeah, because he revealed, because it was after the meeting with Karush and them, he revealed to Subaru that he had a wound on his shoulder that he's been carrying forever, that he got from his wife, and that wound never heals, and the only time it ever, and it'll heal sometimes, but the only time it ever opens is when that person is near him. And the reason why that wound is bleeding now is because during their encounter with the witch cultist, it reopened, so it made him want to team up with Subaru more, because he wants to find out about his wife.
So it's definitely related to like gluttony and greed and those characters.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, so I never caught that part. I kind of just went past that. But yeah, man, like I can't wait to see how they're gonna take on these characters, because like as strong as Rem is, she barely fought off those two, and you could tell those two characters were barely trying.
No, we know Rem's out of the entire season too.
I know, right? Season finale is her waking up.
This is season 2. It's Amelia's time to shine. So let's see how they do it. Yeah.
Can you imagine though, like the writers kind of like cave into the fans, like, all right, it's not doing so well.
Dude, I would be down for Revan.
Ratings are down. Get her up.
I mean, it could do it in a positive way, like where Amelia ends up becoming queen, but then she can't date, or she can't marry Subaru because she's queen. So then Subaru ends up with Rem.
It could be like that. But to episode 2 of Race Hero, and that was such a eye-opening episode, because it starts out with him meeting the Witch of Greed, and right, that's
episode 3.
Episode 3. Oh, episode 2 is when
episode 2 is when they go back. They go back to the mansion. They find out that half the people are gone. They left Sanctuary, and then they introduce that yellow hair chick with the sharp teeth.
Oh yeah, that Eric Edna or something like that.
I forgot her name.
Really weird name. Yeah. I thought that. And then they had Petra, the little girl. She's a maid.
A pedo truck.
Yeah. So I thought that was weird that they threw her in there as a maid too. And then just more plot build up for episode 2, just them finding out.
It kind of makes sense though, just because they're so short-handed now that Rem doesn't exist.
Yeah, so they got to focus more on like the other characters, like Beatrice. Oh yeah, and that's when Beatrice gets the Bible with that Bible type book.
No, that's when Beatrice reveals that she knew Beltages, because Subaru, he hasn't really killed anybody in the entire series except for one person. It was his first kill was Beltages. So when he didn't talk about it lightly when he told Beatrice, but then Beatrice's reaction is like, wait, this bitch knew who he was.
Like she knew, like when she got the book, she knew, like, how did you get this? Like, and then she said his name too. But kind of reminded me again. Like, I never really understood. But how did Subaru kill Beltages? He wrote the name in the book or something, or
I think he burned the book, or he like wrote something in the book and he threw it at him. I forgot, but it was because all the clones are dead, and then the Beltages came at them as like a giant spider, and then I think he like put blood or something on the book, and he something with the book, and then
there was that bomb in the cart too, and they used
yeah,
that, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He weakened them with the book, and then they exploded. They made him explode with the bombs in the cart.
Yeah. Okay, so that makes more
I
sense.
think.
I
Well,
didn't really
go back and watch it.
Yeah, I didn't really pay attention to that. I just knew that they killed him. I was like, because Subaru doesn't have any traits besides what that 80 kg bench press throw or something like that he has.
He's got nothing right now.
Yeah, he's got like Cosmo, where Cosmo has steel and tinder and create water and stuff like that. So
we haven't gotten to his shadow powers yet. We gotta wait 2 months.
Oh, yeah.
Felix is like Felix basically said they healed it, but it's gonna take like 2 months or something to recover or something.
Yeah, because he kept using it. And the last time he used it was against Julius, and he got his ass whooped.
Because
that was a terrible beating, man. He was holding this match, and Julius was holding back too, and then he was like, "Screw it."
We were all hoping he would die, so he could just reset.
Could you imagine that was the case, like where Julius kills him and then it resets? But Julius is a knight, so he won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But he did do it though. Oh yeah. Okay. I didn't bring this up, but that scene before the final episode of season 1, where Belskis took over Subaru's mind. That's another scene that I really liked. And then he's like, kill me. Felix killed me. So Felix does the magic thing.
Well, Julius wouldn't kill him. Julius refused to kill him.
But then, like, he still did it at the end anyway. He still chopped off his head. I loved that scene in the season 1 episode, like season 1. Like, I thought that was such a fantastic scene. That's
a good plot twist, because then it showed it showed victory, and then you realize the Belskis is pretty OP. What the heck?
Yeah, and they just take away that victory from you. That's what I liked. I was like, whoa, they won, and then. Nope, they had to kill Subaru.
and then he comes back with an even more OP plan.
Oh man, this is the reason why I like Grey Zero, folks. For those of you who are listening, that's why I like Grey Zero. The plot twists are so great, especially with like certain episodes. It keeps you wanting more. And with episode 3 that just passed this week, it's what we kind of talked about a little bit, but it's about where Subaru and Amelia and Otto, the guy who rides the horse carriage and stuff like that, he's transporting them to Sanctuary. And then you learn that Rosewall and Ram, who is Ram's twin, and the people of their city are in this forest. And then, that's when I almost said Cosmo, but Subaru meets the Witch of Greed. And that's a crazy scene. And because that's what they were teasing this entire time with the previews.
Yeah.
And before season 2 aired was the whole meeting between these two. So I was waiting for this scene. What was your thoughts, Moang, on that when they revealed it?
It was interesting when they revealed Ekidana, or the Witch of Greed. Subaru's reaction was pretty funny though. It was a bit confusing too, because I didn't know what to expect, because in the way they kind of but they left off episode 2 meeting her, and then they jump right into it, episode 1. Subaru's reaction was kind of funny. He didn't do what I thought he'd do. He basically he's like, I don't care. I'm just gonna. Can I just go?
He blew her off so quick.
And she's like, you can ask me anything. He's like, I'm good.
It kind of gave me like Aqua vibes. Like when she was complaining, like, are you sure you don't want anything? You sure you don't want me to tell you anything? And he's like, nope. Just let me go back to Amelia. I thought that was pretty fun. So I was like, yeah, that kind of threw me off a little bit. But then what she revealed next, after he drank the tea, and then like you learn about the other witches who they're all dead, which I did not expect that. All the witches are dead.
Including her.
Yeah, including her. And then, I don't think she talks about the archbishops, but she's talking about the witches of like
it's weird, because then you have to really layer, like it's a weird layer of bad guys, because we don't even know yet if each other witches have their own archbishops. And then because there's the Archbishop of Greed, but she's the Witch of Greed, but they might not really. I mean, they could have something to do, because the Archbishop of Greed had white hair, and she had white hair.
I think if we're theorizing, I feel like the Witch of Envy is behind everything. Obviously, that's because then she's the main. She's the main question right now, right? Because it's been the whole question the entire anime, because she's what's the reason why Subaru keeps coming back. Yeah, and with these archbishops, maybe Subaru might be an archbishop. We don't know.
Well, maybe it was hinted, because then I forgot. It wasn't Sloth, because they called him. They asked him if he was, but I think it was I forgot who revealed it. Someone said I mean, we know that he's related to the witch cult somehow.
Yeah, because they kept referring him to like the Witch of Envy because he had.
Oh yeah, and they revealed that he was next in line to inherit Betelgeuse's powers.
Yes, yep, that's what they wanted him. But to add on to like, did you catch like when she was talking about each witch? There's like a silhouette of one of the witches that looked like that looked like Petra.
Yeah, no, the small girl, right? It was a small. I'm like, it was either Petra or it was the other
childlike character.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, man. That's so because
Could you imagine that though? Like if like
that'd be a plot twist.
Kid was a freaking witch the whole time and like no one knew. That's why
it could be though because she's got a hard on for Subaru.
That's what I'm saying. Like she likes Subaru. So what if she is a witch and we don't know? Like that would be such a crazy plot twist, man. Like that's why she wanted to be near him.
But I liked how they didn't show the ending theme after the first and second episode until the third one. Because that ending music song actually revealed a lot. Dude, he died like 15 times in that ending song.
Oh man.
It kind of hypes it up that this guy's gonna die a lot.
See, that's the thing too. Like, as much as people don't like Subaru, here's another comment here. Lee says he's an arc bitch. But like, with Subaru, that's also one thing. Like, as much as I don't like his character at times, I feel like that's what makes him so good too. Is that he's willing to die that many times, and if when it matters, I think one of my theories was like if he was mentally tough, for example, if he was like as clever as Kazuma from Konosuba, the dude would be so OP because he'd just be willing to die and come back every time.
Well, it goes back to that scene, back to episode 1 when he realized he fucked up because Rem was because Rem was when he realized Rem was she basically died, right? And the first thing he did was he killed himself.
Yes,
he stabbed himself in the neck. Yeah. And it's sad because he ends up right back in the same spot with the knife, and that was insane because it makes sense though because he would have created a paradox because he wouldn't have been able to save. He would have had to choose to save Rem or Amelia.
Yeah, either way, it would have not had gone his way. Like that was pretty much the whole point of that first episode of season 2 is like whether he killed himself or whether he chose a different route. At the end, one of them was someone dies. And so he couldn't do anything about it, which I liked that a lot in the light novel because they touched up more on that in the light novel than the anime did. The anime kind of just brushed through that.
Mm-hmm. The anime brushed through a lot.
Like even the meeting scene, when they meet Crush and like she's talking about like how she doesn't have her memories. That part of the light novel seemed way more tense than in the anime.
Yeah, they have some of the subtle movements, but I think that's what kind of differentiates the light novel and the manga from the anime. Because the anime, you have to really pay attention to the subtle movements of the animation and the sounds, whereas in the anime or the light novel, they just draw out the movements so you clearly understand.
Describe the character's feelings already in text, so you can read and see what's going on. But with episode 3, how it ended, with them going to that was it like the ruins or something?
It was the trial, the sanctuary trial or something.
Yeah, and then like Amelia went in,
and she immediately is that not what happened?
And Super jumps in, crazy, dude. I thought was crazy how Rosewall. Like I told you, like I was so suspect of Rosewall. Dude, I still think he's fishy, man.
I mean, he was redeemed a little bit when you saw him just in bandages, because if he wasn't lying and he took the trial and he got his ass kicked, yeah, it's possible. Maybe I mean that's a good reason for why they never I mean I don't know what he was thinking, man. He was really strong. He was OP against the wolves, but when the witch cultist attacks, he wasn't doing anything.
Like, all right, I'm gonna be the first to dip.
He left his maids Ram to defend against the whole raid of witch cultists.
Like, y'all got this, right? Fucking leaves. But yeah, I'm only suspect of Rosewall because I don't like that relationship tension that he has with Ram.
So far,
that's super suspect, man, because he's like caressing her, and then he's like, you're my best helper or some shit like that. Some really creepy shit.
Yeah, I think they're probably just saving that. They're saving that build up for when they reveal what he actually is to the story. So I think they've actually explained a little bit about his relationship with Ekidana. But that's about it.
Because he doesn't address her as a witch. He addresses her by her name. I thought that was a good part too, a good detail that they added in that episode.
So it's about a family line, yeah.
Yeah. And then what you think of that new character that they introduced? He had, I think the voice actor was Bakugo.
Yeah, it was Bakugo. I forgot his name, but basically they introduced Bakugo.
Yeah, that beast kid or something like that. They mentioned the other maid's names, like, oh, how do you know that idiot? Like the whole time I was like, dude, it's just Bakugo.
This guy's Bakugo.
I thought Subaru was gonna fight him for a bit, then Subaru just kind of like
Subaru would not say that.
I feel like Subaru. I really wish they added more skill sets to Subaru, man. Like he's tough and he's down for it when it matters, but he's got no fighting skills. He can't do nothing. He's so useless. Like at least give him a little bit more magic spells or something. Like do something.
I'm assuming maybe later down the story he'll get more tools available to him. Maybe, I'm hoping they dive further into his shadow ability.
I think so too. I think
because they made a point that he does have magic.
Yeah, and he can see through the dark and all that stuff. But with the ending of episode 3, season 2, I liked how he went in there and then like they just cut it off. No real no typical anime ending credits. It's just like they just rolled credits and they just ended it there.
Dude, no, because they ended it with him back home.
Oh yeah, that's right. Right.
His freaking dad. His dad's freaking him.
Yeah,
he's freaking hyper as heck.
Yeah, that was a crazy detail at the end. I forgot. I can't believe I forgot about that. Like his dad jumped on him. Like the whatever that voice was like, you got to confront your
past
stuff at home. Yeah, and then he's at home.
That's insane.
So I can't wait for next week's episode, man. Hopefully it's just like a quick run through, and then we're back to the real timeline. But maybe it'll touch up on like how he got transported there, because this whole time they have not explained like how he got to that world. He just got summoned there.
Yep. Well, I mean, because he is in the graveyard or whatever it is. That was her Ekidana's world.
Oh yeah, yep, that's right. And like I don't know. I feel like they've got to have more for Subaru, man. Like they can't keep us waiting on this kid's storyline. I feel like there has to be something very crazy coming up, some major plot reveal. Because other than that, then I'd be very upset. Because it's like I'm already getting like edgy with Subaru.
It's like what I told you with when you go for a more serious storyline, and that's what this is. The storyline for this entire series is actually pretty as funny or humorous or as dark as it can be sometimes. The story is actually pretty solid, and that's what kind of makes it harder to write anime too, because when you write a good story, it is so easy to ruin it.
Yeah, like any kind of add-on, or if you take away something from it, something's gonna happen. Fans are gonna react regardless whether they like it or not. And I think that's what it is with really well written stories, is like you can't afford to mess up once. You have to make sure that there's like
you piss off the wrong people.
Yeah, I think that's what Re:Zero was doing. That's pretty well. Like they're taking their time, and the time gap was pretty big too, right? From season 1 to season 2, that was a pretty long wait.
No,
right?
It was right after. Remember, it was literally right after.
No, I mean, like not the animated storyline, but like the actual releasing of.
Oh yeah, it's been like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. So
I've been waiting for so long.
Okay, so last topic here, Moang, before I let you go. The last topic here is something that you've actually brought this up in our chat. Was Attack on Titan being overrated, and I told you to save that for the podcast. What were you gonna say about that?
Dude, I just ran into a lot of people that really hated it. They gave it like an F score, and I was like, "What? But how? It doesn't make sense." Like, I can understand you hating it, but if you judge the show like on like its production quality, and the story isn't terrible. I can see why people don't like it, but it's actually pretty solid. And the animation, dude, that anime's been on for a long time, since like what, 2011, 2012?
Yeah. You know, I think people were mad was the fact that season 1 and 2 had such a huge gap in between.
Well, there's a huge gap and a huge story plot difference.
Yeah,
they went from like hyper Titan fighting, Titans basically killing all your friends, and then they went that into like a it became like a mystery.
Yeah, it went from Titans to Game of Thrones, like betraying each other.
and then went from Game of Thrones to conspiracies basically.
But you know, with season 4 coming out I don't know if it's still this year, but season 4 being slated, being the final season, the final season, and then the manga close to its end too.
I don't know how they're gonna end it with just the season. I'm assuming it's gonna be 2 parts, right? It's gonna have to be 2 parts of.
I think there's no way they're doing it in 12 episodes.
Yeah, there's no way, because there's so much that happened. Like I've read the manga here and there, and there's a lot of stuff that happens. There's
a lot of stuff that they can cover up within 1 or 2 episodes, but there's no way you can do that in 12 episodes. No, the arc that from what I've been reading, because I'm caught up with the manga, there's no way you can do it in 12 episodes. It'd be so rushed. So I'm pretty sure, like, if they do it, let's say if they do it this fall, then part 2 would be like, you know, how they did season 3B, it'd be in the spring. That's where I think it's gonna be.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know, man. I guess the fandom just is really toxic, because it's not my favorite anime of all time. I don't think it's the best anime, but I think it's really good for what it is. When it's got some really good, it has a lot of really good moments. Like one of my favorite moments is when Annie straight up murders Levi Squad. That was I mean, it was a bad moment, but it was such a good moment.
Like it was so perfect, because like the way how they wrote that arc, you know, like Levi's team wasn't there to see her powers, and then Erwin's, like, you know, his thoughts on, like, well, did we see a body when the Titan was being eaten? No, then they're still here. All these little details that finally came out, and bam, they get ambushed, and then there's like a sliver of hope where, oh shit, Levi's team is pretty good without Levi, and then they all get murdered. I'm like, what the hell? And then Aaron
they built him up too.
Titan too, and like everything added up emotionally. I think that's what made it so great. Was like you see each of these characters who have so much skill get slaughtered so easy, and then Aaron, being the character that we see hit the story through him, he sees that, and he's already built relationships with these characters. He trusts them. Now he feels guilty that shit, I should have just turned the Titan back then, and now they're dead. I can't do nothing. Then he just turns.
The moral decision of the entire anime. It's either you trust your comrades or you don't.
Yeah, like Levi is the perfect example for that story, man. It's just like every decision you make sure you have no regrets, and that's what exactly Attack on Titan is. Because something, whether you make a good or bad choice, there's consequences to it regardless. And that's what I love about Attack on Titan.
And the best part is no answer is the correct answer.
Yeah. You go based off your gut instinct, and if you face something, then you just fight it. You know, like Attack on Titan, what a lot of, you know, typical anime viewers refuse to see is that there's a lot of comparisons to real life in that anime, you know, and there's a lot of morality and a lot of characters in this story. Like, you know, not everyone's your friend. You know, you're gonna be betrayed. You can't trust everyone. There's bigger threats out there than, you know, the Titans, quote unquote Titans. You know, there's conspiracies, and especially right now with the U.S. trying to build a wall, and then with
that's
COVID
true.
Stuff, you know, like you could say like COVID right now is a Titan that America is facing, but what's the real threat? What is the real threat? And that's why I love Attack on Titan. I get to the super conspiracy mode. I'm like, dude, who's the real enemy?
Especially when they reveal I think Reinhardt and Bert or Bert or whatever. When they revealed, their reveal was so good. I mean, like it was obvious when they kind of gave it all the hints, but with that reveal, the animation, and they did that scene justice. Man. That scene, they did it perfect.
It was so much better than the manga. Like in the manga, they just straight up say like, yeah, we're the armor and the giant Titan, and then Aaron's like, no, you're not, and then they turn. But then in the anime, they build up the emotions.
He knew they were, but he was just playing dumb.
Yeah. But like the emotions of it built up so perfectly in the anime, the music, the tension, the voice acting, and
you fucking traitor.
Yeah, Yuki Kaiji, the voice actor for Eren and Todoroki, that dude's fucking phenomenal, man. He is so good at being emotional as Eren. And I watched the interview with him, and they're like, so who is one of the toughest characters you voiced? And he's like, it's Eren, because he's so emotional and he's so erratic. That's what makes it so good.
You get the reveal of the Titan or the armor Titan, and then after that, it builds up to finding out that Eren has the king ability.
Oh man, yeah, no, he has the best power. He has 2 powers. Oh man, and that was all in season 2.
Yeah,
that's what I thought was crazy, that they did it in 12 episodes, and then they're like, "Yep, Eren has 2 powers." so now, like like I was saying with season 4, man.
Oh god,
I don't know, and they switched animation companies to MAPPA now. And
well, I mean, and you look at the story too. It's going to be so hard to tell a more consistent story because the themes changes so much in this final arc.
Yeah, and it's a time skip. That's what it is too. It's a time. That's what a lot of fans don't know. It's a time skip. So like when you watch the first episode, it's gonna be confusing because now they're introducing new characters from the other side.
It's just new characters and new vehicles.
Right, I know. Right?
It's basically the movie now, because the issue with the live action movie is they bring in all the vehicles too early.
I thought, man, that live action was shit, man.
They were too lazy to use real horses, so they just bring in all the vehicles.
And then like when they did the Titan versus Titan, it was like watching Godzilla.
It was basically it was basically who's that guy that turns into a giant Ultraman? It was basically Ultraman. Ultraman would have been perfect in that movie.
Like, what the hell? Ultraman.
It was weird though, because especially that scene where they had that girl that totally was into Eren, and Mikasa straight up just hates Eren.
Oh man,
I did not understand that movie series. They had 3 movies too.
It had so much, like, I understand like they didn't want to make it like the anime, but there was a little bit of potential, and then they just dropped the ball. And I was like, I just didn't like it. I watched it and I was just like, ugh.
We need a studio that has Disney's funding, but bigger balls.
Right? Someone that's not afraid to go and break the limits and like be PC.
As much shit we can give Marvel and Disney for a lot of the knee bending they do, the production quality is out of this world.
They got the funding. They're like foldable times a million.
Like imagine if they made a live action demon. I would trust Disney. Well, not Disney, but I would trust the funding of Disney.
Disney's funding with a different studio, like Blumhouse or something.
turn Tanjiro into transgender, and as it go, it's a freaking boy.
Oh man. They're gonna fan service everyone if Disney does something like that. I'd be pretty upset.
We just need a studio that has big balls but also a big wallet.
Well, that's the thing too. Like we talked about like how not on this podcast, but we talked about off camera that like a lot of studios and stuff, they make most of their money through the manga and through the books, and people don't buy it, and it costs them a lot. Now, like if you consistently support those companies, they would have some sort of budget to create animation studio and hire animation studios and do what we as fans would want. But we all kind of just.
It's even worse with manga and anime because it's already hard enough to get, and a lot of people, it's so easy to just pirate a lot of anime, and I think manga has it worse than anime in my opinion, because that's where anime starts. Anime starts with manga, and there are a lot of really good mangas that you're able to read for free, and you don't even have to pay a cent for any of them.
Yeah, it sucks. Like that's why as fast as mainstream as anime and manga is getting, it'll never get the real support that it gets to really fund a really good studio to make, whether it's live action or animated movie. It'll never get that potential because there's so many fans out there who pirate, who technically steal, and there's third party sites. You can't stop all of that. And so I mean, like I'm to blame too. I do read some that's how I keep up to date with a lot of the manga I'm reading now, because like you can't
cheap,
wait for
man.
the volumes.
If you just you did, I think it's $2 a month for the subscription for
Well, I'm reading My Hero for free on Viz because it's like every week, and I'm already caught up to it, so I don't need to pay to read the previous chapters. But Demon Slayer, I had to pirate Demon Slayer a little bit because like it was because Lee Mong was.
It came out of nowhere too. No one was gonna read it without.
Dude, did you see the freaking like the rise of their sales for Demon Slayer? Like
It passed One Piece.
The freaking back orders for all the previous, like the early chapters. Holy shit!
Yeah, that's how it's crazy how much of an anime can do for a manga, and the manga's been around for a while too.
Like, dude, and the thing is, like, Demon Slayer just ended this year too, and they're still buying it, and they're still
it passed One Piece, and that's insane. Oh, and I have a lot of issues with One Piece.
Yeah, we'll get into that on another time, but before I officially wrap things up here, I want to say thank you to you, Moang, for jumping on this podcast, man, and being the first live guest that I have on this live stream. I'm glad that there's people who even interacted during our conversation here, so that's pretty dope. But I can't wait to have you back on, man. I know we have a lot of conversations off screen, man. I wish
this is easy, man. Dude, if you talk to me about anime, we could talk forever.
Yeah, I'll bring you on the next anime talk. There's so much shit that we talk about.
Multiple people. I mean, imagine if we get Lee Moang in here with 3 of us. We discuss anime.
We'll try to work something out. I wanted to do a Demon Slayer review, but then you haven't read the manga, so I can't bring you into that one. I wanted to do I did do one with my buddy Andrew, but then that one's gonna be a special episode to if I do like a Patreon or something. But I do want to do like a proper Demon Slayer like breakdown and review of the entire of the manga, and with everything on hold, we have time for it. So there's no way we're getting season 2 anytime soon.
Well, it's not gonna be season 2; it's a movie.
Yeah.
Man, it's gonna suck though, because in the movie, because the thing about movies is we know that they put a lot of effort into the movies. You look at Rising Heroes Rising, and they're definitely gonna put a lot of effort into this. But the issue is, I guess the only thing I worry is how much of a dent is it gonna put in the story.
Yeah, it's see how people perceive the movie, because it's in the storyline. It's not off base or off canon. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how they're gonna. It could be like they might. One of Lee Mong's theories was that he thought that maybe they're gonna do just movies now, like movie series instead of the seasonal stuff.
It makes sense, but
it could be that, or movie seasonal season movie season like that. But who knows? But Moang, before we wrap up, like, do you have any? Did you want to plug your social media accounts and everything?
Not right now. No? I've been kind of just busy. I've been low key currently because I've just been kind of recovering and just kind of working on the whole drawing things. It's not easy.
Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah. So definitely send me the links to your games after we're done here.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be a while to efficient, but I've gotten a lot done. It's a new story, but this time, instead of focusing on making everything too detailed, I think I figured it'd be better to finish the story first, because it's so easy to get drawn into adding a lot of details. But the thing is, when you spend so much time taking small steps, you kind of lose a little bit of that passion.
Yeah,
it becomes more tedious. Like work. Yeah, it becomes tedious. So it's more of I'm just trying to finish the game first, but it's gonna be
Yeah, just send me what you have, and then that way I can share it, and that way fans can or the listeners can just try out the demo.
I'll try to get a demo out.
Yeah, and then that way they can give us some. You can hopefully they give you some sort of feedback too. That way you can see what you can or cannot improve. And that was the fucking car. I hate my street, man. The cars are so freaking loud. You can hear them in the middle of the podcast. But that's why I like doing this live stuff. That way I don't have to worry about editing all this excess noise. I can just leave it in there. But yeah, man, this is episode 60. Thank you again, Moang, for being on the podcast. Folks, make sure you check out his game. I'll have the links after I do the editing and everything. So maybe later tonight I'll update the description with the game links or the demo links and stuff like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode that's live on Facebook and Twitch. So that the listeners know as well, next Friday, I will be going live again with another new guest, Tarot at Taryn. So this is a whole new guest that I'm going to be having. She does tarot card readings. So I don't know how I'm going to react to that. I don't believe in any of that stuff, but it's going to be pretty crazy to have a guest like that on. So next Friday, Tarot at Taryn's on Facebook and Twitch. Make sure you tune in for that. I believe we're going to be streaming at 8. And then also next Tuesday, during my weekly live streams, which is exclusively on Facebook on the Spoiler First podcast page, I will be revealing the month of August guest list. So I have a bunch of great guests for next month. There's tons of projects that I'm working on right now. I'm trying to collaborate with Otaku Detroit in Michigan as well, a brand new anime manga store that just opened up. We're in the works right now. We're sending emails to each other. Hopefully there's something that can be worked on. And then also, if you live in the Michigan area, make sure to check out Comics and More, because they have an event next month with Steve Cardenas, who is the second Red Ranger in the Power Ranger series, who played Rocky. He's going to be there. So make sure you check out Comics and More, message Chris Brown or the Comics and More site so that you can try to meet Steve Cardenas as well. And again, thank you all for tuning in and for watching, and for watching me and Moang just conversate about anime, weebing out. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, have a great day.
Later.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow, like, share, subscribe, and rate Spoiler Force Podcast. For comments, questions, or criticism, you can email me at rickyvang92@gmail.com or message me on Instagram at instagram.com/rickyvang92.